Alrighty guys, we're back for Big Red Artifacts, and this is a Murders at Karlov Manor Standard Brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, rockin' all four Krenko's Buzzcrushers. This is a 4-mana, 4/4, flying, trample, artifact creature. Nice. Now when it enters the battlefield for each player, destroy up to one non-basic land that player controls, and then for each land destroyed this way, its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Okay, yeah, we're not trying to do anything particularly fancy with Buzzcrusher in here. It's just in here to be a good value artifact creature, and I think it's gonna do that. Also act as one of our main win conditions too. And another win condition that we got packed on to an artifact creature is Cityscape Leveler on the top end. This is an 8-mana, 8/8 artifact creature, of course. It has that trample, and when you cast this spell, and whenever it attacks, destroy up to one target non-land permanent, which is really good to have in a mono-red build. Its controller creates a tapped Power Stone token, unfortunately. Hopefully that Power Stone token doesn't help the opponent out too much, right? Now this also has Unearth for 8 as well. It's worth noting that Unearth is not casting from the grave. It specifically reads as return this card from your graveyard. However, it does gain haste. So you will swing with that leveler and get that ability to destroy a target non-land permanent anyways, which is just kind of disgusting, man. It really is. And then with that Unearth, it's a card that we really don't mind discarding to cards like Demand Answers, for example. We got all 4 of them packed in. This is a 2-mana instant speed. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you sacrifice an artifact or discard a card, then you draw 2 cards. Yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a terrific way to filter out our hand, first of all. But then in a build like this, there's going to be moments where, for example, some decks hold up open protection spells, like Tamiyo's Safekeeping, right? But in this build, the opponent drops some removal on like our Krenko's Buzzcrusher, and we're like, well, it's going to die anyways. We might as well sacrifice it to Demand Answers, restock our hand a little bit or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll see how much this ends up doing today, though. We have other ways to filter out our hand too, like Bitter Reunion. That haste is going to go a long way. We have like Celestus, which helps us filter, helps us ramp, gives us some life gain. Celestus is so good, dude. Speaking of ramp, we have like Thran Spider in here generating some Power Stone tokens. Again, hopefully those Power Stone tokens don't do too much for the opponent. And more ramp packed in with the Mightstone and Weakstone too. All 4 of them, even though it's a legendary artifact, we don't really care that it's legendary. When it ETBs, you get to choose one of these, either draw 2 cards. Okay, more ways to stock up our hand, huh? Or target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn. Honestly, in standard right now, it's probably going to be -5/-5, right? You got to hit that Shieldred as soon as it comes down. So now it also has tap, add 2 colorless mana. This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. This is going to be terrific ramp into our Cityscape Leveler, and also more top-end stuff like Portal to Phyrexia. Same concept as the Buzzcrusher. I said not doing too much fancy outside of value. Same concept, dude. We're not trying to like cheat out Portal to Phyrexia. We're going to be casting this for the 9 mana. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices 3 creatures, so it acts as one of our board wipes, and we do have other board wipes packed in too. We'll go over those in just a second. Now at the beginning of your upkeep, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It's a Phyrexian in addition to its other types, so that's also a reason why maybe Demand Answers at some point we don't mind discarding cards like Buzzcrusher as well. Maybe we plan on bringing them back eventually with Portal to Phyrexia. I don't know how often that ends up happening. I just like that we get to take stuff out of the opponent's grave as well. That's going to be really, really good. Okay, I talked about the board wipes. We have 1 burn down the house. Should this be 8 burn down the house instead? Yes. No, I always make the joke, like if I could run 8 burn down the house in mono red mid-range, would I? And I always make the joke, like, yes, I would. But for this build, I get this vibe that I didn't want too many burn down the house, but I still wanted 1. So we'll see how much it does. Those devils always come in handy as well. We have a couple Invasion of Karsus in here too. A 4-mana Battle Siege that we don't get to see too often. It has 4 defense counters on it. Now when it ETBs, it deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. And then if you ever remove those defense counters, which could be as easy as already having a Buzzcrusher flying in the air for 4 damage, right? It flips into Refraction Elemental, which is a 4/4 elemental. With Ward, pay 2 life, not bad. Whenever you cast a spell, Refraction Elemental deals 2 damage to each opponent. Yeah, that seems pretty good, and another potential win condition, right? More board wipes, a couple Brotherhoods, and the early board wipes are going to be particularly important against certain matchups. And then if you get into a different matchup where you're like, oh man, Brotherhood's End isn't going to do anything here, well, that's when like the cards that trade out are going to be really, really good. We do have some early removal that helps us trade out too. Rockin' Volcanic Spite, which can also hit battles, which could come in handy since we have a couple battles. Now, when you're trading out, this doesn't go into the grave, unfortunately. It's the bottom of the library, but still, any amount of just like trading out extra lands or anything like that really does go a long way. More early removal, rocking a couple play with fires. I wanted to be able to hit anything here, including battles or including the opponent's face. There's going to be moments where you're swinging with these huge creatures and you get the opponent down to 2, and then they drop a Sunfall and you cry yourself to sleep. But wait, you have Play with Fire in the build, and with all this filtering, could be really, really easy to find actually. So yeah, I think there are going to be moments where Play with Fire ends the game in this build, right? Well, in any build, let's be real. But yeah, you guys know what I mean. We also have Torch the Tower here. I think the bargain is going to be really easy in this deck, but also there's a bunch of stuff in Standard that we just don't mind exiling, right? Tenacious Underdog sees play every now and then, and of course, like Squee is a big target for Torch the Tower. Phoenix Chick, anything like that. The exile on this really could go the extra mile. Is that everything, guys? No, it isn't. We have Treasure Map in here too, acting as a little bit of ramp. So this is a 2-mana artifact. For 1, you can tap this. Scry 1, put a landmark counter on Treasure Map. With all the filtering and the scrying on the Treasure Map, dude, you should be able to get whatever you need into your hand when you need it. You know what I mean? Then if there are 3 or more landmark counters on this, you remove it, transform Treasure Map, then you create 3 treasure tokens. So that could be huge ramp. Now it transforms into Treasure Cove. It is a land, taps for a colorless, or you can tap it, sacrifice a treasure, draw a card. So another way to potentially stock up your hand. There's no other real ways to get treasures in here, so it would be the treasures off of Treasure Map. That being said, I do think you end up using those treasures as ramp more often than not, and using this land as ramp too. As eventually just being able to spam a whole bunch of things onto the board at the same time, or just like having 12 mana all of a sudden really goes that extra mile to hopefully closing out the game too. Okay, the mana base, guys, we have 26 total lands. 20 of them are being mountains, and we do have a bunch of utility packed in, like Hidden Volcano. I don't think coming down tapped is going to hurt us too much. There's going to be moments where we end up flooding out. We use that Discover ability, and we end up hitting like a Buzzcrusher or something off the Discover 4, which sounds pretty gross, huh? We have Crucible of Defiance in here, a couple Blast Zones, just like, I guess, more board wipes at that point, right? Also helps us clean other things up like enchantments and stuff too, which of course our Cityscape Leveler helps us do. I just feel like having a lot of utility lands in an artifact style build isn't going to hold us up like with the colorless, right? We also have a Hall of Tagsin potentially generating some Power Stones for us, and then Mirrex potentially another win condition, kind of, sort of, right, with the Phyrexian Mites, but yeah, we'll see. Some honorable mentions, guys. Okay, thought about other pieces of utility removal, and like Volcanic Spite and stuff, those could all be your removal of choice. I thought about Buried Treasure for this one. I think this is actually a really neat card and could be a great potential budget trade out for something that you don't have in here. Thought about Ironcrag for the build, thought about Urabrask's Forge as well, and I thought about Grabby Giant too. Also, potentially another great budget trade out because it is only a common. Okay, guys, hopefully that's everything now. Let's go ahead, take it into some ranked and see how we do. Right into that first game, guys. Oh my goodness. All right, opponent, what you bringing to the table, buddy? Okay. Ooh. The opponent goes first. If it's mono red, we might just get completely run over. I'm gonna try it though. I don't think it's a bad hand. We'll see. I think the Invasion of Karsus kind of sort of saves it, because if it does get us to the point where we're sweating pretty bad, I think there's a very good chance of seeing the 4th mana in time, and then Invasion of Karsus could potentially clean up the board state. Oh wait, we went first. Huh. For some reason I thought the opponent was going first there. Oh, okay, well. Demand Answers is open. We probably ditch Portal. Poor Portal. But it would be worthwhile. Actually, the land. What am I saying? We have 26 mana in here, dude. I was like, oh yeah, 4th mana, we want to see that right away, but we could easily draw into it here too. They're going to counter Demand Answers. Wouldn't be bad. It'd be 2 cards here. They are going to, in fact, counter the Demand Answers, which does give us a free turn 3, but unfortunately, we don't have anything for our turn 3. Oh no, and then they can pass it back quite successfully. And now we don't have the 4th mana. I ran right into that, dude. Oh dear. Okay, well, Torch the Tower is open for the turn. At least we drew something we could kind of sort of play. If they end up playing a creature, of course. Yeah, that wasn't terrific. If I held back, we'd still have the 4th mana in hand. See, now we're going to be a turn behind, kind of, sort of. Running into counterspell after counterspell, potentially 2. Well, I say no reason not trying it at this point, right? Let's get that Buzzcrusher down. And having, like, Leveler in hand at the time of discarding. Oh, wow, Buzzcrusher hits the board, so it must be some spot removal then. Restless Anchorage is probably the pick, right? I think the Restless lands are usually going to be the pick. They grab that Plains. Now they don't have 4 open for something like Wandering Emperor. Oh. They dropped the Oops. So maybe it was going to be a Wandering Emperor turn, so they'd want to do that before the Buzzcrusher comes down then. Ooh. Another Buzzcrusher. Okay. I don't mind that. Yeah, anyways, having like a Leveler in hand whenever we actually dropped the first Demand Answers, that would have been the discard because of the Unearth. And then we'd still have that 4th mana when it came time. Where eventually, since I ditched the mana, we ended up missing that turn 4. Oh, it was a Memory Deluge, not a Wandering Emperor. And yeah, they'd want to do that while they had the 4 open. Find whatever they need, and we're going to hit that other Restless Anchorage here. Yeah, dude, getting rid of those is probably pretty good for us, man, because of how control is. That's could potentially be one of their main win conditions, right? There we go. I don't mind seeing the mana at all. Are we recovering from that brutal counterspell earlier? Probably not yet. Let's start with a map token and see what happens. See some land off the top. Okay. So I should have done that before playing the mountain, because then we could have gotten Blast Zone down. And potentially put more counters on it when it came time. If we go Invasion of Karsus before and we try to flip it, I don't think that's worthwhile. I'm just going to do the map token again before the swing. Like, attempting to flip this could be good, but then we, like, run right into a Sunfall or something. You know what I mean? It's probably better just to utilize the other things that we had on the board. Wandering Emperor. Well, Torch the Tower does hit the Emperor, and we'd probably want to do that before it's their turn, too. We still have 2 mana open to play around and make disappear. We could bargain, get the Scry, and then they won't get the 2 life, right? It's actually pretty good. I don't mind that at all. Yeah, the Wandering Emperor ability fizzles out. Buzzcrusher goes to the grave to potentially get picked up from like Portal later on, and it was a no more lies. Well, we still got to fizzle out that too, but now they get to keep the Wandering Emperor, and we didn't get the Scry. Okay, that's 2 counter spells out of the deck. Jace comes down. Potentially one of their main win conditions is Mill.
You cannot win. We can improve upon
Land. Play with Fire. The Play with Fire could have been okay to like poke the Wandering Emperor, but these are both 4, right? So if we get Blast Zone down, I mean, it's Invasion of Karsus hits Planeswalkers too, but if we go Invasion of Karsus and it's another No More Lies, we don't have the 3 to pay. But if we give them another turn of getting value off their Planeswalkers, all right, hopefully it's not another No More Lies, guys, because we really need to push some value back in our favor. Okay, dude, we're hitting 2 Planeswalkers with this. That's pretty good, man. All right. So at this point, if we can land some of our big cards too, then we might be able to start to push this back. Another Deduce. Let's not forget they have the Memory Deluge chilling in their grave. Lots of ways to restock their hand here. With 6 mana on the board, we're in desperate need to draw something that we could actually play, but also just like keeping Blast Zone open might not be terrible too. All good, opponent. All good. So we got XX, then you tap it. Oh. It's pretty expensive to put counters on Blast Zone. Treasure map, okay. Yeah, dude, I don't mind that. It would have been awesome if earlier, when we had the 2 mana, instead of the demand answers, they like drop a counter on the treasure map instead. That would have been much, much better for us. Like I said, we could keep like Blast Zone, potentially put a couple counters, try to get it up to like 4 for when it comes time for them to drop more Planeswalkers. I guess treasure map is still decent enough, and getting the Scry in is probably going to be pretty good too. I'm going to do this on our turn as well. Still have 4 mana open. Mightstone, Weakstone. That helps us ramp into Portal and draw 2 if we can get it onto the board. Or will it just be Leveler next turn? Or if we keep this on top, are they going to drop Jace number 2 and mill us? You know what I mean? Okay, Blast Zone available to put 1 extra counter on. Memory Deluge number 2. Find what they need. I would imagine Planeswalkers. We shall see, though. When we have cards like Invasion of Karsus, they might be a little concerned to play Planeswalkers. Also, they found their 3rd Restless Anchorage. I would not be surprised if they have all 4 of them in here. That would not surprise me one bit. Jace comes down. That probably means Mightstone Weakstone is out of this equation. Well, because they wouldn't want a plus here. We have no creatures to plus. They go for the mill. They go for the max mill here. Okay. Brutal stuff. Hey, Cityscape Leveler hitting the grave. Their 2nd one. They still have 4 open. I am going to put 1 charge counter on the Blast Zone. X is 1. So I'm not sure how many 1 mana cards we're going to want to clean up from the opponent. So while we have it, that seems pretty good. So with 24 cards remaining and them just going Jace for the turn, if it was going to be another Jace, I feel as if they would have done it on their turn with their mana. But at the same time, so we have the 8 required to bring back Leveler, maybe swing at Invasion, then we'll have Refraction Elemental. We could just play our Leveler down too. Running into any counter spell would be particularly bad. Scrying on the treasure, keeping Blast Zone, giving them extra turns seems bad too. Everything seems relatively bad. Let's unearth this leveler and swing at the Invasion of Karsus. Let's do this. See if leveler survives here too, right? Because we could swing and then, or they could just remove it before the swing as well. They also only have like 35 cards remaining, but something tells me they're not going to deck out before us, you know what I mean? Because we have 24 cards remaining in our build. It's like they're going to allow the swing. I'm going to try for that Refraction Elemental, even though 8 damage to the opponent's face would be pretty good. We could turn this treasure map into Power Stone token. I'm just going to see if they want to do something with this clue. It's just not terrible turning a clue into a Power Stone, right? Less card draw when it comes time. End up flipping the invasion. See, now that we have this on the board, it's not a terrible card to drop a Sunfall on, you know what I mean? Because it's a pretty valuable creature. But also paying the 2 life for somebody at 19 life wouldn't be terrible too. The 3rd Memory Deluge. Oh my. Grab 2 more. They are now down to 32 cards in the deck. They start to establish something. If they want to start doing damage outside of the mill, it's got to be mill as their main win condition, right? At this point. But with 2 Jaces gone, how many do they actually have in the build? I don't mind the Cityscape Leveler. With all that mana open and all that in hand, I'm going to start with the Scry on the treasure map. Demand answers. We have to be particularly cautious here, don't we? About drawing. I'm going to send it. I don't exactly know what I'm looking for. We're going to keep the Volcanic Spite open. We're just going to go for Devils, see what happens here. A counterspell for burn. Oh, if it was another No More Lies, we'd want the extra mana from the treasure map. But I also wanted to see what was on top to help me decide what to do for the turn. Oh, crap, guys. Yeah, No More Lies requires 3. Or Make Disappear requires 2. So if it's another No More Lies, then the Burn Down the House gets countered because we only have the 2 open. Maybe it's a Make Disappear instead this time. It is a Disruption Protocol, so it didn't matter what we ended up keeping open. But we still get the 2 through. Is it worth the swing? Wandering Emperor comes down and tries to exile the Elemental. And it will. It will successfully exile it. I guess it's not worth the swing then, or are we playing around a ghost? 32 cards remaining. I suppose it's still worth the swing because at any point we could run into... These decks are rough, dude. Like, these are so rough to play around. Oh, knockout blow. Yeah, because if we hold back, we could still just run into removal regardless anyways. Knockout blow happens to be attacking creatures, unfortunately, gaining them a ton of life. Guys, I think this is heavily leaning towards the opponent for like the past, all the turns. We're just kind of waiting to see when they're going to drop their win conditions here, which I'm assuming at this point they have a 3rd Jace. And if they don't, well... March of the Otherworldly Light before we flip the treasure map. Oh, that kind of sucks, huh? Outside of that, we could drop the Concede, but we have like these big cards in hand that could play its part properly, especially if their win condition isn't going to be mill for this last little bit, and they actually try to establish creatures. It doesn't appear that they're doing. The Portal to Phyrexia wouldn't be bad, but that's like a certain counter, right? So I suppose if they counter Cityscape Leveler, at the very least, we'll have the Unearth after the counter. Nothing to hit on their board except for the Power Stone. This was a tough uphill battle, man. Memory Deluge from the grave, 4/7, find what they need, easily finding a counterspell if that's what they want, off the top 7, you know? Guys, for these longer matches, always keep an eye down at the bottom of the video, and in the description we have timestamps. Always feel free to skip ahead in the chapters, go to the next match or whatever, right? So, because some of these matches are brutal, but every now and then we have like crazy comebacks. And so I like sticking them out. Well, depending on what's going on too, right? Union of the Third Path. Oh my. See, now they're down to 26 cards. Like, they're drawing a lot here. Sunfall. Okay, see, that exiles that quite nicely. So now we won't have the Unearth. That was only Sunfall number 1. And we've only seen Wandering Emperor number 1 too. Moorland. Okay, so if they counter the portal to Phyrexia, we'll concede and we'll get into the next match for the sake of just showcasing the deck more. No more lies. Hey, good game, opponent. I don't think there's much coming back from this, guys. And a Wandering Emperor was about to drop as well. At some point in the middle of that game, we probably could have said, okay, well, this is going to be the opponents. But at the same time, like I said, every now and then we have a crazy comeback. So kind of wanted to stick that one out and see. Was a bit of a longer game, but not as long as it felt. Some of those control matches, huh? Let me tell you what. That was a tough time. And I've been seeing that version of control a little bit. Just normal blue-white control floating about with the Jace and the Wandering Emperors and the No More Lies, right? It looks particularly brutal, and the matches have been really long against that one too. That early counter on the demand answers, I don't know. That was a really bad counter for us, but I don't know if that's what ended up turning the tides there. I think that was going to end up leaning towards them in no time. Opponent goes first. We're going to keep this. Nano faces Caucasan. Yeah, we have a relatively decent setup and a lot of land packed in. I think we'll see that third for the Thran Spider when it comes time, which is a great blocker for us. Invasion of Karsus is going to be excellent too. Hopefully we get our fourth in time. Nothing from the opponent for the turn. Is it going to be demand answers? Well, this time there's no fear of a counterspell from the opponent, so it's probably going to be a demand answers. Make sure we draw the land we need to see. Treasure map might be a little slow. Diverse mono red. Let's see if a lightning strike hits our face here. Play with fire number 1. Okay. That was a particularly slow couple of turns for mono red. How about it, guys? Ribrask's Forge comes down. Well, that's a nightmare. That's really bad for us. Okay, yeah, it's just going to be demand answers. We're going to ditch the treasure map, I think. We're going to do our dandiest to find something. Find land, first of all. Okay, there we go. Some land for next turn. So Thran Spider will come down. More land. Okay, I don't mind any of this. Yeah, unfortunately, with the Forge being Forge, it kind of gets around these board wipes really nicely. Either way, Thran Spider is pretty good for now. Any amount of turns we're able to survive extra. Uh-oh, Godric going into the air. We could chump. Let's swing with that. Yep. So if it's going to be... Oh, full swing. I feel like a full swing would be worthwhile, depending on what's in hand. Like, they have 2 cards here, so that hesitant full swing means it probably isn't. Okay, okay. I was going to say, it probably isn't a rage. So chumping 5 is much better here, right? Over keeping Thran Spider alive. Invasion of Karsus comes down. Cleans up 2. Or Buzzcrusher comes down. We don't pick up any land from them. No Mishra's Foundry this time. So if Invasion of Karsus comes down, they swing for 3 on the Forge, and they still have 2 cards in hand as well. If Buzzcrusher comes down, and we play Karsus on the following turn, then we have a chance of swinging with Buzzcrusher to flip the invasion. That seems pretty good, actually. I don't mind that. Yeah, Buzzcrusher could be a terrific trade into Godric, too, depending on what they end up doing here. Squee. Okay. Okay, dude. Where's the blocks here? The 3-1? Because we're going to be picking up everything else on the invasion. Lightning Strike. Holy cow. Did they just win? 1, 2, 3, 8, 9. So we can't successfully block here. We're forced to trade with Godric. Oh, no, dude. This is so bad. Oh, no. Because now the board wipe is... it does nothing. We're not flipping on the ground to block on the ground with the Urabrask's Forge being able to swing in next turn. That's it, dude. I think that's it. That's brutal stuff. Also, with the board wipe, Squee was going to be able to come back from the grave as well. So anything that got us down that far was going to be able to do it. Blocking on the ground wide with Burn Down the House doesn't work either because they are going wide enough here. Yeah, dude. GG opponent. That was something else, huh? Good game. Urabrask's Forge being a nightmare for us. And that's, in the honorable mentions, I brought up Abrade, right? And so having that one Abrade in here could be a little bit good. Yeah, being able to bring Squee back to you. GG, buddy. Was there going to be a way through if we had a block with the Buzzcrusher that wasn't a trade? I think there was a possibility of being able to get enough blockers down. But as long as that Forge remained, I don't know about that one, man. Now, Brotherhood's End is also a way to clean up artifacts, right? Is it artifacts mana value 3 or less or 2 or less? So I can't remember right now. We'll see if we can see Brotherhood's End here in a second. Because we have a couple of them packed in. And for some reason, I can't remember if it's 2 or less or 3 or less. I feel like it was 3. I'm not sure, though. Oh, there it is. Destroy all artifacts with mana value 3 or less. Yes, okay. So that hits a lot, but it doesn't hit cards like Buzzcrusher. That's pretty cool. Even then, doing that just to take out a Forge means everything else that Mono Red was doing was going to be able to get through anyways. So, opponent goes first here. Go ahead and keep this. We'll see what happens. Mainly keepable because that Brotherhood's End is in hand, and we already have the mana to cast it too, so we might be able to buy our time. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, surveil 1. Okay. Insidious Roots. Treasure map. Okay. Insidious Roots being an enchantment. We could pick it up with Cityscape Leveler, but that's not for a little while here. We don't have a whole lot of ramp packed into this hand right now. Okay, Surveil 1. I feel like I should save this Brotherhood's End for when they actually start stocking some plants on the board, right? Down to 18. Land isn't terrible. Yeah, if we send stuff to the grave for them and then they... Yeah, that doesn't seem great. We're just going to keep the treasure map open and keep the Blast Zone open. Blast Zone's bottom ability is 3 mana and tap it, sack it. And we don't necessarily want to pick up these 1 mana cards right now anyways. Okay, Tyvar, they go for Mill. and then return a creature. They ended up missing, luckily. We go ahead and swing. Let's go ahead and activate treasure map now. Mountain, do we even mind seeing more land? I feel like we don't, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is how much we'll have. I am going to send it, though, because I think we're going to need a little bit more removal. And if we send it, we have a chance of seeing, like, even more. Yeah, we have a chance of seeing even more land anyways, so... And there it is. So same concept here. They're really struggling to get creatures into the grave, so if we end up doing, like, Brotherhood's End, and then they restock with a bunch of plants anyways... We'll have one open for the treasure map at least, but it's just like, it's Krenko's Buzzcrusher, right? I think so. We'll go ahead and hit one of their wastes. Question mark. Restore up to... Oh, because we have Blast. We have to submit 0. Okay, yeah, submit 0. The Who Endures... Like, I don't mind that they're taking damage from the wastes, is the thing. You know what I mean? I'm going to get rid of their 1 green source, and I guess they just grab a forest then. But, like, I don't mind that they're taking damage from the wastes, so... I think that's still the worthwhile pick. Aftermath analysis. Let's see if they actually can get some creatures into their grave. Because they're definitely trying to do the thing. Really? Oh, there they go. They got the Ichor Drinker. Hey, nice. That's a perfect one. They get to do it right now. And Roots goes twice. 1. And they get a Surveil. Hopefully they don't plug more counters onto these, because once it gets to 4, Brotherhood's End no longer hits it. Yeah, hopefully they don't have something else to play back. Get a Surveil. Hopefully they don't get something for that 1 mana, dude. They don't. Okay. Okay, because this board wipe's rough, but I think they're going to easily be able to restock this board. Because, 1, they'll have the Incubator, which they're not going to power up until the end of our turn, probably, after the Brotherhood's End. So 2, let's see. We know we're going to be playing our mana. They'll have Drinker and Dream Thief in the grave to activate both next turn for 4 mana total. So they'll get 4 plants back after this board wipe. Is that still worthwhile for us? Dude, this is a really tough decision, and I think we go for it. Maybe we start with the Scry, and maybe that'll help me decide what I want to end up doing here. Last zone, I don't really mind more mana as we are struggling to ramp into our big things. But I think we're going to send it. See, right now they don't have anything in the grave, but they could easily find it with the -2 on Tyvar and get these plants well above the range anyways. So if we, like, swing face... Oh crap, dude. Okay, let's do it. Let's wipe the board. Swing face, and then hope that them restocking isn't too significant here. Did they not have the 2 mana for the Incubator because of Tyvar? You may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste. Oh, because their extra mana was on the board already dying. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Then they can do this, and it restocks the plants again. Yeah, so we put those into the grave, and that was a big part of the decision-making. Like, is that what we wanted to do there? And as you can see, that really... I can't tell if that helped them out or helped us out. Either way, they're down to 11 now. We have pretty good ramp, so we want to start with this. Crucible of Defiance. Could help us get some chump blockers. I'm actually going to keep that on top here. And then Buzzcrusher, we have the triple treasures open. I don't think we die next turn, but we could. Yeah, I guess we could. 1-2. Buzzcrusher should be able to block. Volcanic Spite could help take something out too. Okay, well, I guess we start with a swing, get them down to 7. We threaten lethal next turn, and hopefully we don't have to end up chumping here. So submit 0, and with all this extra mana, I guess we're just going to submit 0 here too. And then Volcanic Spite open, blocker open, and lethal damage in the air. Really tough decisions, man. A tie bar. All right, let's see. I doubt they missed this time round. -2, let's see it.
I won't let you fall.
Rubble Belt Maverick. Mana value 2 or less from your graveyard. So all these are going to get buffed. Volcanic Spite only hits 1 with 3 toughness. We get 2 more with the roots. All we got to do is survive 15 damage for the turn, guys. While keeping both of our Buzzcrushers open. We could still... Oh, no! The one that's able to attack just got around the Volcanic Spite. Oh, crap. I really, really needed to take one of those out. Oh, no, guys. Wait a minute. These are getting extreme really fast anyways. Wait, even if I would have taken that out, they had 4 swinging in and I only had 1 blocker? Dude, GG opponent. What was the best way through there, guys? I have no idea. I really don't. Soul Cauldron comes down. I have no clue what the best way through there is. Either way, we have a block on the 10. And see, even if I would have taken one out with the Volcanic Spite, they still would have had 17 damage coming through. That's pretty wild to think about. Oh, well, even more, actually, as they are significantly popping off. They had a pretty slow start. If I waited to wipe the board... Oh, I don't know. I don't know about this one, guys. I don't know. I don't know where we could have played better. So you guys will have to let me know in the comments for sure. We're letting the opponent do their thing, even though they could have full swung a while ago. It is pretty fun to pop off every now and then also if they have any quests to play cards too. So this is one of those instances. So it really didn't matter if we used the Volcanic Spite. This is one of those instances where we would have had to play just a little bit faster. So if we had a Bitter Reunion on the board, wouldn't have done too much either because they're still at 6. I don't know. Let's go. Let's get one more match in, guys. We're about 42 minutes or 43 minutes in to the recording, and I still believe in the build. These have been really, really tough games, and things really don't seem to be lining up for us, which very well might be how I put the list together. And so let's get one more game in, as I like to say, more testing required for sure. That last match really has me racking my brain over what was actually the best scenario for us. Uh-oh, guys. Waiting for the opponent here. 25 seconds. Oh, this might be one of those instances where I got to go ahead and restart the game. I will go ahead and restart the game here just in case we ended up crashing. Okay, we made it into the game here. We did end up crashing, or something. Something ended up happening there, unfortunately. It looks like my deck tracker also ended up crashing. I will go ahead and close out of that, if possible here. So it's not just sitting there loading at the top. Okay, well, hey, it looks like the opponent might not be here either. Oh, crap, guys. Well, I could always pause the recording. Again, keep an eye down at the bottom of the video. Keep an eye on the chapters and the timestamps in the description. We have been having a ton of crashes since the new set, unfortunately, and it does appear that the opponent isn't going to be here, but I wanted to go over the hand real quick, too. With early removal with Torch the Tower, that's already terrific. More early removal with Brotherhood's End, which has proven itself time and time again. And early ramp with Treasure Map. This might very well have been the best hand of the evening, which is soul crushing, bro. Hopefully in the next one we'll have a similar hand, huh? In the meantime, I'll go ahead and pause, see if the opponent ends up showing up or not, and then we'll get into the next one. Okay, the opponent has arrived. It took some time, so my bet is they ended up having to restart their game as well. I'm glad I ended up waiting here, though, because now we get a match with this, like I said, potentially the best hand of the evening. Unfortunately, it does look like we might be against more mono-red aggro, so Brotherhood's End is going to have to pull a lot of weight here, probably. However, with a luckily we went first. Able to establish the treasure map, so if we don't end up using Brotherhood's End right away, we will have Torch the Tower open with treasure map, so that'll be good. Flame Breather comes down. Okay, a little bit of a different version of mono red. Flame Breather with the counter gets around the Brotherhood's End for now, too. Gets around a full-powered Torch the Tower, but realistically, we're just looking to do that 2 damage to Command when it flips anyways. Okay, we go ahead. We keep Torch the Tower open with the treasure map, as there's not a lot here to hit with the Brotherhood's End. Luckily, Burn Down the House is in hand, too, so it does come time for, like, a full-powered board wipe. Okay, Phoenix check. That's good to hit with the Torch the Tower, but is etching a little better here. Oh, Swift Spear. And there's probably a swing with that one mountain open. All right, so we probably can't hit the Swift Spear. Although, I'll start with the Scry. Anything we hit here with the Torch the Tower. Okay, so Thran Spider isn't terrible, is it? We should probably keep it, actually. We probably should. If anything we hit here also could get picked up with the Brotherhood's End. So I'm just gonna awkwardly pass and see if they go for max damage with a Rage, and then maybe on top of that stack, we drop the Torch the Tower. Monstrous Rage. At that point, the best hit would still be the target of the Rage, right? So Torch the Tower, and that exiles the Phoenix chick, so when Brotherhood's End does pick up the other 2 cards... Okay, Thran Spider. We knew that was coming. So we could play the Thran Spider if we plan on blocking, and then we'll have 1 open for Treasure Map, getting us 1 step closer to the ramp on Treasure Map. Or we just go Brotherhood's End, see how much damage their Flame Breather can get through. A Brotherhood's End, if we get greedy, if we go 1 more turn with some greed, Brotherhood's End could also pick up like a Godric. I say we get a little greedy here, man. I think we're more than capable of surviving against mono red for the turn. Oh my goodness, that is 4 damage directly to our face. Well, 5 damage because Flame Breather's on the board. We do have a good block. No, we don't. Yes, we do. Okay, okay. Okay, yeah, it was only 1 damage to the Thran Spider. Demand answers. I'm going to send that now. Probably going to be Burn Down the House, unfortunately, guys. And then we got to worry about the haste and a Lightning Strike. They go all in to the invasion. That is really good for us, actually. We might actually be able to, if we wipe the board with Burn Down the House. I suppose, either way, force getting through to the invasion. That might give us a hint as to what was in the opponent's hand here as well, right? Because if they went all to face, getting down to 3 that turn, it's going to be really bad for us. So treasure map first because we get that ramp and we get to use the power stone there. Cityscape Leveler is totally worthwhile to keep on top here. 1, 2, we'll go Celestus, right? And Celestus could help us gain some life back if we need it. We still have Burn Down the House if we want to go tokens, if we want to attempt to block here. Instead of just cleaning up Swift Spear, or we could clean up everything, but then opponent is mono red, so they have creatures with haste and everything too. So just going blockers and dropping Leveler next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we'll still have a treasure as well. Okay, we risk the blockers and we see what happens, and we keep them all too, because mono red is absolutely devastating. It could be like, man, there could be so much. It could be as simple as land Invasion of Regatha and then play with fire our face. Okay, good. It's just a Phoenix chick, which we can block with the Thran Spider. So I wonder what their last card in hand is then. They use the Power Stone that... I was gonna say, what's in mono red that they could use the Power Stone for? Maybe like the Squee ability back from the grave, which they don't have right now. We do have to, so they plan on flipping this. We do have to be as cautious as possible with our blocks. We poke the Phoenix chick out of the air there. So, Rage. I'm gonna see if they end up killing the Phoenix chick here. Like, they could go Devil first just to take it out, and then we could take care of the Phoenix chick, which they might have an easy time bringing back from the grave. Dude, I don't know, but like, these matches... Oh man, it was... The last card was a Rage. So they do end up killing both of these. Luckily, they didn't go onto the Flame Breather, because that would have been an extra 3 damage to our face there, too. Okay, triple Devils. So, we end up... How do I want to do this? I can let them keep that. Let's see. When this flips, Invasion of Regatha, when it flips, what does it flip into? I can't see. A 4/4. So that's... I still can't see. Guys, send help. I don't know how to work this. We gotta go you, probably Swift Spear. We want Flame Breather off the board because we're getting too low and that continues to poke our face. And then we're not going to be able to clean up the 4/4 very nicely with the Brotherhood's End, so it's going to be Leveler to the 4/4. Letting them keep the Phoenix check could be scary, but I think letting them keep a trampling Swift Spear is even scarier, right? So, all right, Cityscape Leveler, save us from this match, huh? Let's do this, buddy. Also, if we poke the Phoenix Chick and let them keep the trampling Swift Spear, they might be able to bring back Phoenix Chick depending on what they drew, which would have had to be a pretty impressive draw, but we'll see. Okay, we'll take that action. I don't think we need this land right now. I'll ditch it. Volcanic Spite. Okay. Now we're talking, dude. So we could switch it back today, see what happens. I don't know if Brotherhood's End is the ditch here, but I do want to take this action. Buzzcrusher. I think it's Brotherhood's End now. I don't know if we need it right now. Take out the Phoenix check, and Buzzcrusher blocks really, really well. And also puts lethal onto this board. Holy cow, dude. It's like I said, like we've had some incredibly like tough uphill battles. I think we're finally established here the way the deck was supposed to be established. Hey, Mistress Foundry. Okay. It comes down to what's left in their hand because we have 12 on the board. Well, no, they could power up Foundry to block. So they power up Foundry, Volcanic Spite their Foundry. and then we full swing. A little bit of life gain from Celestus being terrific here as well. Portal to Phyrexia. Yeah, that's a thing too, huh? Still feels like there could be something in their hand, but I don't exactly know what it would be. Oh, Witchstalker's Frenzy and cards like that would easily pick up the Buzzcrusher, so they could still be in this, guys. If it's not something like that, and if it's just the Foundry, then this is the turn. Get to power that up with the Power Stone tokens. Volcanic Spite their Foundry before they get a chance to block with it. I'll keep the Portal to Phyrexia in hand. Good game. Oh, decline. I'm trying to drop them the GGs. I can't drop them the GGs. What is going on with Arena, guys? Yeah, good game opponent. I couldn't click on my character. Oh, I'm a Johnny. Oh, it's doing that thing. It's doing that thing because we froze that game. Okay, well, it is what it is, huh? Let's go ahead and go over the deck one more time. We're about 56 minutes in. Man, I feel like this one was just all over the place, huh? The deck, the video, the MTG Arena, just everything all over. What a mess, bro, right? Here's the deck list again. Okay. While it really didn't feel like it was doing the thing, man, were we able to reestablish ourselves against mono red quite effectively there. And it was like mono red that was a little different. It had Flame Breather and stuff. That being said, they were still doing stuff very fast. And also, with what we had, we were more than capable of taking on like Godric mono red or something there too, right? If that was Godric style, the Thran Spider would have been pretty good. They did have the Monstrous Rages when they needed the Monstrous Rages. We just had a little bit more value, in calling like Devils there on the Burn Down the House was a really good call for us, I would say. They ended up flipping their 4-4, and then now that we didn't have Burn Down the House anymore, keeping that Cityscape Leveler on top was of course huge. We also got that ramp there in the last game with the treasure map. Dude, the last game actually showcased exactly what the deck was supposed to be doing the whole time. But is it always going to draw like that? Or no? Yes? Maybe? More testing required, guys. In the meantime, put it on the do not craft list. It is most certainly janky just based on how it was doing against potential meta builds. Do we want to call the plant deck meta? Maybe. It does feel like more and more people are trying out the Insidious Roots, and so at that point, and it really popped off too. Like, sure, we were one turn away, but so were they, and they really got there too. So I don't know, I would probably consider that meta for now, especially since it feels like a lot more people are trying it out. Against the slower decks like the control build, I think they're going to be favored more often than not. And if you are seeing a lot more control, like white-blue control, then another bitter reunion over the 4 demand answers would be pretty good. Just being able to give your big things haste goes a long way against control, right? So 2 bitter reunions, 3 demand answers would totally be fine. Outside of that, if you're seeing just way too much mono red aggro or soldiers or anything like that, seeing a lot of Boros, yeah, all forms of soldiers and humans and everything, everything you could imagine that's aggro, then you might want to go up some more early removal. Another Volcanic Spite and a Braid, that would have come in handy today for sure. A 3rd Play with Fire wouldn't be a bad thing. Another Torch the Tower, the Exile kind of helped us out today a little bit, right? The Krenko's Buzzcrusher, I thought this was going to be a little easier to get on the board, as I thought we were going to be able to ramp a little bit more effectively than we actually were too. Everything just kind of felt a little messy, and that very well might be my fault in how I put the build together. So yeah, put it on the do not craft list, as there are a ton of rares packed in. Overall, the mana base didn't feel bad. 26 land felt about where you'd want it, and if you end up having the cards for this deck, I think it would be fun enough to try out, and then let me know in the comments what works and what doesn't, or maybe you end up doing much better than what I did today. Then that would be awesome to hear, you know what I mean? Okay, guys, hey, made it this far into the video for real. Y'all are champions. Make sure you check out the description where we have that Discord link as well as that Patreon link if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. And I will see y'all in the next video.